What's going on, Internet? The Black Hokage here, aka TBH, and to be honest, I'd like to welcome you guys back to the Gaming Illuminati podcast. We are the Enlightened Gamers, and this is episode 103. Now, before we get into the show, just know I got to introduce my co-host, the first of which is loving fatherhood more and more every day. I mean, that's what he said at least. UTX, JG the Don, say what up to the people.
Hello. We are back again for another podcast. We got a lot to talk about today. It's been a lot of gaming news. Let's get to it.
And my second co-host is a Final Four. I'm about to turn this point. I can't even get my jokes off. I'm tired. He's a Final Fantasy 14 crackhead. Glad he had time for the show. Ito, say what up to the people.
Yo, what up, everybody? Shouts to everybody in the Discord who I got hooked on the same crack. You know what it is.
If you want to appear on the next episode, be sure to back us on Patreon at patreon.com/GI updates. Also, take the show on the go. This podcast is available on Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, all other major podcast outlets. Be sure to download that GI app, available on iOS and Android. It's free. Just search Illuminati on your respective app store. Keep in mind we spell Illuminati with the word is in naughty and nice. Now, before we get into the show, a few things: free games, delays. Put this at the top of the notes. So on Xbox, free games for August: Portal Knights, Override, Mech City Brawl, MX Unleashed, and Red Faction 2. For PlayStation Plus, you get the Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. Just keep in mind that does not have multiplayer. That's only the campaign. And you guys get Fall Guys, which is like the new sensation. And then on PC for the Epic Game Store, Enter the Gungeon and God's Trigger is free this week. And then next week, it'll be Hitman and Shadowrun. So make sure to claim all your free games, especially if you're poor. And then we got a couple delays that we can talk about real quick before we get into the main conversations. Xbox is really not helping with the concept of they have no games. Microsoft recently announced that Halo Infinite, 343 announced that Halo Infinite will be delayed. They're blaming COVID. They said, today I want to share important Halo Infinite development update with the community. We have made the difficult decision to shift our release to 2021 to ensure the team has adequate time to deliver a Halo game experience that meets our vision. COVID, blah, 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 COVID, blah, blah, blah. That's why they delayed it and they want to make it better. How are we feeling about this delay? Anybody care?
Whatever.
Damn.
I don't think it's gonna be whatever for Xbox fans, because this is the premier. This is the premier IP. Like, for them to have to delay it and it's not coming out in launch, and that's gonna be a major blow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand why they're not gonna say it, but they got roasted. They got roasted because of those graphics, and I think that took a major, like, all right, we got to sit back and we need to rethink what just happened. Because if you have other outlets like Digital Foundry proving that the previous Halo games look better than this, then
that shit hurt their confidence. They was like, we need to go back to the drawing board.
Like, this is supposed to be the most powerful Xbox yet, right? Mm-hmm. So that's not a good look.
Yeah, it's not. It's crazy. They got a Game Pass that don't got no games on it. Anyways, another delay was Arcane Studios, the creators of Dishonored. Deathloop is their new game starring a black man or something, and a black woman. That got delayed, unfortunately, to Q2 2021. Something about COVID, blah, blah, COVID. Making it the best experience possible for next gen COVID. Does anybody care about that, Luke? I mean, that's basically what all these come down to. Like, I don't want to read the whole letter. It just comes down to COVID pretty much, and they have to work from home. I think actually a prime example of this is Apex Season 6. I mean, we're gonna talk about that later, but COVID is fucking everything up. But did anybody care for Deathloop?
I did. And we were all Dishonored fans, so it's the same studio that's making it. But at the same time, like, I'm not hurt because, we have another major game. I remember when I put this in the DMs, he thought someone had a heart attack because he thought it was his beloved Cyberpunk.
Oh my God. Oh, that's another great news piece article, is that Cyberpunk has made it past 91 days. And that's like a huge deal, because all the other delays have always happened at 91 days. Like they felt that if they delay, it would always be around this time, and it hasn't happened. So we're now like
crazy that's a thing.
It's literally a meme where people are terrified at 91 days, and like it happened days ago or something like that. And even see Project Red made a joke about it and was like, "Hey guys, nothing going on here today. What's going on with you guys?" And everyone was like just staring, like, "No, nothing. We're just relaxing. Just waiting."
You're not funny.
So we'll see about that, but Yeah, I think that at this point, especially with this going on, I think that game studios as well, they're going to have to really learn how to navigate the whole game development thing. Because I mean, we were getting delayed before COVID, right? But now that COVID is hit, now I'm not saying that everyone is using it as an excuse, but it really has been like pretty much every delay that's happened in the past like 6 months has been, due to COVID, or they've been saying it's been due to COVID. So if that's truly a reason, and that's going to be like a huge, drawback for a lot of these game studios, especially when it comes to trying to hit these dates, and they're going to have to figure out how to, navigate working on these games from home. Obviously, we're not trying to have anybody get sick and ultimately, have anything worse happen. But this is going to be a thing. And, COVID is going to be here until we at least get a vaccine. So a lot of these games are going to suffer, and these game studios are going to suffer until they can figure out another alternative to make sure that they can still stay on point.
Yeah, it's affecting game development in ways that I don't think people actually understand. It's like when you're not in the same building, and it's hard to exchange files and keep up with one. Also, I can make the argument too, I'm not saying people are doing this, but because people are working from home, you never know, man. They might be depressed, so they don't have the motivation to work, and then some people might just be lazy and they don't have boss looking over their eye while they're working on the game and stuff. So it's just like, it's a sticky situation. Hopefully things get better. Wear a mask, folks. Wear a mask and wash your hands and wash your ass. All right, starting conversations for the podcast. A lot of games have actually came out, but a few games and some betas and stuff like that since the last podcast. The first of which we're going to talk about is Square Enix, Crystal Dynamics, Marvel's Avengers. They did a beta test for the game. People have been waiting it seems like 5 years for this game, and finally we've been able to get some hands-on time with it. It was available on all platforms. For those of you unaware, it's actually well this episode will be out today, so yeah, it's actually, you can still actually play it right now this weekend. The beta, it's free on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. What's the name? So let's talk first impressions on what we think. Was it worth the wait? JG, Marvel's Avengers, was it worth the wait?
Oh boy, let me tell you something. I had a pretty bad experience, and you saw this last week. You came into the stream when I got the code, played on the PC. Man, I know it's a beta, but it was almost unplayable. Like, it was a lot of times where the game just froze on me. We had audio skipping and looping. It was pretty rough. And I have a pretty decent rig, so it definitely was not my PC.
You want to hear some disappointing news?
Man, highly unoptimized. What's up?
It's not optimized on PS4 either.
I heard
that shit. I had it in performance mode on my Pro. That shit was skipping.
I was asking people the same thing. I was like, is your PS4 getting pushed to the edge? Does it sound like a gen engine? And everybody was like, yeah. So I was like, okay. So I don't know what's going on with this game, but again, I'm going to just say, because it's a beta, they're going to have to work some stuff out. But at the same time, this game comes out in a couple of weeks. So we're really going to have to figure something out. Like, do I even want to play it at all if the PS4 version as well is having issues? Because, that was the thing. You were like, Square games on PC normally are not optimized. But if the PS4 version is having the same problems, then it's just going to be the game itself. It might end up just being a dub. And, that sucks because I do want to play the game. But let me talk about the other negatives. This game definitely should not have been a looter type of service game. After playing it, it's a lot of things that I'm just like, why is this here? It was things that I was picking up in the part that I played, the single player experience. I'm like, what is this? Why do I care about these items? Like, I know that they're important, but I would just rather not deal with them. I also found the overall story and navigating when I was playing, it was very hard to get lost, to find out where my next objective was. So I feel like they should have did a better job with that. I don't know if it was because I was streaming, but I was just trying to figure it out. I'm like, I don't know where to go. I'm not given clear direction of where to go. So the UI and the whole flow of what I played just seems a little bit skewed. But as far as the positive, I know everybody was hating on Black Widow, but I would say that part, fighting Taskmaster, was actually the most fun part of the demo for me personally.
Really?
Yes.
Black Widow was boring. Hands, it was QTEs.
You lying? Black Widow got hands. That part was actually fun. I like her part, and I like Iron Man. I would say you ended up playing with Hulk the most in the demo, but I actually didn't like his part. I didn't like his parts as much as I thought I would, because it would seem like super fun to just be like, oh, Hulk smash everywhere, but like I found this part to be like the least enjoyable. I actually like Black Widow's part, so like if I bled, I would actually not even be afraid to play with her, because she got a lot of gadgets and stuff. Like I just like just throwing hands, because she actually do got hands. So again, that's just my opinion, but I actually liked her part the most, and I actually dislike the Hulk the most. But all the characters, I would say overall, like it felt okay. It wasn't anything too intricate, and obviously we only get like a very, very small slice of like all the upgrades that you can possibly get. But I think like as far as my negatives, I think the most that I would have is obviously the optimization, because if I can't play the game, then that's just going to be an L as it is. And then just the whole like loot part, I really just don't care about the items that I am picking up. Like it just makes no sense. I'm like, oh, what is this? Like it doesn't really resonate with me for this type of game. And I think that's probably going to be, besides the optimization, this is going to be the most annoying part. That's going to make me like, oh, do I really like this game or not? Am I going to see myself playing this for a long time?
Man, let's push the optimization issues to the side. Let's pretend like the game actually does work for a second. I'm actually more disappointed by the fact that like I wouldn't call this game trash, but like I think uninspired and underwhelming is the best way I could describe this. I was so uninterested in this game. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not buying this game. If you see me playing it, it's because I got it for free from Square or somebody donated it to me, but I will not pay for this game. The shit was boring. When you played as the Hulk, boring. Like this game is press square on at least on the PlayStation. Press square to win. That's it. You just run around, you press square. There's no depth to anything. Yeah, they drop loot and then like you get a little bit stronger, but there's no depth to the combat. When you play the Hulk, it's like he's big as shit, and then they have him in these small ass corridors and shit. So the camera's spazzing all over the place. Then on top of that, there's no layers to the combat or anything like that. I do agree with you. I think the characters that threw hands were the most fun to play. Cap, Black Widow, and then Kamala Harris. That was actually my favorite character to play, Kamala Harris, because she can swing around and shit, and she can lock niggas up. But anyways,
I like Mega Cap too. Like, to be honest, Mega Cap was actually kind of lit.
Yeah, like the characters that threw hands were the most fun in my opinion. But like the game just feels janky. Like it lacks like a certain level of smoothness. I'm not gonna lie, like I had more fun playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 than this shit.
I hate to say that, me too.
And I think it's because there's like a team. Yeah, I think there's like a team aspect to like Marvel Ultimate Alliance where you have to combine different abilities, and you can do that a little bit in this game. But like it was QTEs all over the place. It was a lot of just shoving you down linear, like super linear corridors. Just set piece after set piece, and then in those set pieces you had to mash the triangle button with the QTEs. The shit's just boring. And it hurt my soul to play this shit, because y'all know I'm a super Marvel fan. I'm just like, this ain't it, bro. And I didn't like it. What about you, Ethos?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same wheelhouse. I guess I'm not really disappointed by it, because I think if you go back to when they first revealed it, I think when we were talking about it, I kind of was like saying the same things. I was kind of like, it looks very linear. I don't really see like the openness of it. And then they were talking about it'd be 4-player co-op. So then it was like, well, how does this, like that intro sequence we saw, we were like, how does this work in a 4-player scenario? And then when you actually play the game, then you actually discover, oh, okay, I get it. That's not actually the case. So like the thing that you see at the beginning of the game is just a single player, like very cinematic QTEs. It's like everything that I just find is very mid. And then after that, then when you actually see where like how the co-op mechanics work, then it kind of like reminds me of, it reminds me a lot of like Destiny open world scenarios where you run on this open area and then you go to these like certain like quote unquote like certain missions, which are going to be like duplicated throughout all the missions, and then you complete them, and then you go to a certain like mini dungeon, you beat a boss, and then that's it. And it's like you're going to repeat that process over and over again. So I mean, yeah, I do agree with you. I think maybe the only redeeming factor of this game might end up being the story. Like, I hope the story is actually really good. If the story ends up being pretty good, then I think like I would be willing to give it a try, at least a shot. But like, if the story ends up being kind of like uninspiring too, as well as like I do agree, like the gameplay feels a little uninspired as well. I don't really feel anything when I play. Like the two things that really irritated me was that like you're playing the Hulk and I don't feel weight when I play the Hulk, and I'm like, how can you mess that up? Like it's like a pivotal thing with the Hulk. Like, he has to feel heavy and he doesn't feel heavy. And like the numbers, the looting numbers, and all that stuff, like, it makes the power fantasy feel worse because it's like you're playing as like the Earth's mightiest heroes, and I'm taking like 5-6 swings to like eliminate, like 10 swings, if not more, to eliminate like a robot. Like, are you come on?
You mean to tell me the Hulk is struggling against a police officer with a riot shield? Get the fuck out of here, bro.
And then like you add on top of that, like I'm trying to remember the other thing that like really irritated me. Iron Man. How Anthem has a better flight system than
You know what's funny? Yo, people in my Twitch chat were saying the same thing. Like, yo, this game makes Anthem look good. Like,
like, Anthem has like I would rather play Anthem's combat loop any day of the week before I'd have to play Avengers. Like, it is like, especially with Iron Man, like the way they make Iron Man's flight controls, like you could tell like they looked at Anthem really hard and they like kind of copied the system that how Anthem does flight. And I think everyone agrees that like Anthem's flight system was really, really good. But like there's still stuff that like they changed that's different from Anthem's that's just like really bad. Like they make it where you can't just click one button and just fall to the ground. Like you have to hold B to like have him like land all the way to the ground. And like that's just like irritating. It doesn't make you feel fast. And on top of that, I do agree. Like the person I had the most fun playing was Black Widow. Like I agree with JG. She was like the most like I felt power behind her hits and stuff. And because she's human, it makes sense why she takes a couple hits. Like I guess that's where like the visual to what I'm doing actually makes sense. But like I can't like when I like play like, and Tony too. I guess Tony felt like all right too. But like again, like the Hulk, I didn't like. Kamala Harris she was cool. Because I like or Miss Marvel, like I thought she was really cool. So yeah, it's just like Hulk is the one that was just like I'd never want to play this dude ever again. And I think it gives a bad impression when like the first single player part is just you having to play Hulk most of the time. I don't know. I agree with all of you guys. Like, do I think that this game could end up being really, really good? No. I'd be very surprised if this game comes out and like it gets global praise. Like, I think it's just gonna, at most, it'll get a 6 out of 10 Destiny, a 7 out of 10 maybe for people who really like it. But I don't see any way in the way that I've played already that this game's going to be anywhere close to being like a phenomenal game that like we've been waiting 5 years for. I just don't see it.
I almost turned it off right at
the
beginning.
I will give I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy. I will give it credit on one thing though. I do feel like they really did care about like the world. I do find like the story is interesting to me because it has like a little bit of like what the Inhumans in it and some stuff. So I'm like, okay, this expands on a part of the Avengers universe that like the MCU doesn't touch on, and that like it's like more that like B-list like characters and stuff, like some of the like lesser known people of the universe. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool like to meet like some of them, but like again, if they're gonna launch this and they're gonna only have like those lists of heroes and the data leaks of like, you know, everybody wants to play T'Challa. And he's gonna be like a DLC character, and it kind of goes to what JG said. This whole live service thing, it's like all these things combined together. I just smell like BS is about to happen. So, and Spider-Man, the whole Spider-Man thing is a whole other like, you know, I'm not really that crazy like upset about it, but even still, like that, you know, that pissed people off too. So,
yeah. I almost turned the game off right at the beginning of the demo when you get to play as Thor. That's the first character you get to play as in the beta, and there was a moment where like there was a soldier with a gun standing on top of a car. And like I tried to jump up and hit him and I couldn't. And I'm like, okay, so he can't jump and like climb on the car. Like he can't fly. Like this nigga he's a god. And he literally was like a foot above me. I'm like, I can't just float and then hit him. And then people in the chat like they gotta do it for balance. This nigga's a god. Fuck balance, bruh. You could do that shit in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. There's characters that can fly around and shit. Like I'm not talking about flying to the top of the damn level, but like Thor should be able to float. Like I don't know. Like
did you get to the co-op parts? The parts like where it was actually like go out on like several different missions to try out like the loop of the game. Did you try those?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I turned it off when I got to the Kamala Harris Hulk part. I was so fucking bored. I turned that shit off.
Yeah, so like after that, there's a whole part where they give you like several like variety missions of like what you get, like kind of like a Destiny thing where it's like you look at the table and you could pick missions to go on and and like you pick a co-op partner, like you pick 4 players and you guys can all go into there. And then in those areas, that's where I think it's like they kind of messed up, is because that intro sequence is like it's very scripted, it's very misrepresentative of like what the bigger experience will be like when you're playing with your friends, because in those scenarios like it is like a full, like, I was actually surprised. It's like almost like a semi-open world in those like levels where like you can jump on top of buildings, you can like swing from like building to building and stuff. Like it's way more like open and you can fly around and stuff as like Tony. So like those parts, I'm like, why didn't you show this stuff instead of like the A-Day sequence? So the A-Day sequence makes you think like, oh my god, it's like linear as hell. Like there's like, you know, there's no space, there's no movement. I can't even climb stuff. But then when you get to the co-op parts, then like now you're just like, oh, okay, this is kind of what I expected it to be like. but even still, like the stuff you're doing in those levels.
It was a defend the computer mission.
Yeah, it's like it's Destiny stuff. It's like go to the defend this area, and then it goes to like wipe out all the enemies in this area. It's just like what you expect from like looter shooter like activities. Like nothing really like crazy deep.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, am I interested in this? Like, what are you trying to do? Are we trying to give us like Marvel raids? Like, is that it? And I'm not a fan of this. Like, I just want a story experience. Like, it doesn't have to be, super linear, but I was not expecting, harm missions and these type of co-op missions. I thought it was just going to be just the story, which is co-op. Like, if you want to pop in, pop out gameplay, and then you choose whatever hero that you want. So I'm getting a totally different experience. And like I said, I don't see myself like having a lot of fun with this, and I'm on the same boat as TBH. Like, if I get it for free, I'm gonna play it, but if I don't, like, I don't think I would be spending my hard-earned money for this.
Do you think you can play with four friends or something like that? Do you think the game?
That's the only way I could see it being fun. Like, but the thing is, like, anything is fun when you play with friends, so it makes the game bad. I would be shocked if this game gets anything higher than a 6. The only way it could get higher than a 6 is if the story's fire, then maybe a 7. But yeah, I would be super shocked if it got higher than a 7. Like, it was really just meh. It was mid is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, they just really have to fix the optimization. Like, they don't have too much longer. That's why I'm really worried.
Yeah. Speaking of optimization, let's talk about Apex Season 6. It just launched. New character.
That game?
You said what?
You losers still play that game?
You pay $15 a month to play an MMO. You're a fucking nerd.
And guess what? My game's optimized.
Yeah, it only took them like 5 years to fix the game. Get out of here. Fucking Apex Season 6 launched. New character Rampart. She has a turret as her ult. She also can drop shields that amplify the damage on her guns. And when she carries LMG, she carries more ammo, as well as she reloads faster. It's a passive. So that's the new character. They made changes to the map and to World's Edge, and they also made changes to the meta. Now there's crafting in the game. When you run around, there are like these crates all around the map, and you pick them up and they give you points, and then you can cash those points in at computer stations that are littered all throughout the map, and you can use those to craft whatever you want. Shield upgrades, weapons, ammo. There's like a daily weapon, high level weapon that you can craft. The counter to that though is like whenever you use the computer, it gives away your location, so people might pull up on you. And then also they made changes to the shield meta. You now drop with a level 0 Evo shield. Everyone has an Evo shield basically, and whenever you find a shield, like let's say you kill a team, if they had a purple on you, it'll be a purple Evo shield, and then you can upgrade it to a red. And then they changed like some properties on the gold stuff. So those are like some of the big meta changes in Season 6. How you feeling about it, Jay?
I'm actually kind of digging it. I think the only negative is I wish that they would have had a new map already, but it's fine. Like, I'm okay with the changes that they made to World's Edge. And I'm actually, not really upset at them deciding after we basically beta tested it with all of the LTM events that they did over the past couple of months with the whole shield thing. I'm not upset that, they at least gave everybody a shield, or at least like, if you fight, then you end up getting your shield, and everything is an Evo shield. You can find better Evo shields throughout the map, or you can just level yours up throughout actual gameplay. As far as the crafting thing, like I said, it's hit or miss. Like, I don't mind it being there, but at the same time, like it's just like it. I'm not understanding why they decided to add that part. But like I said, it's like really, I don't really care whether it's there or not. And the Volt is cool. It definitely has a lot of recoil though, until you actually put some attachments on there, and they ended up vaulting the R99.
Then it becomes a straight laser.
Yeah, once they do that, it becomes a straight laser. But like I said, I'm most happy that they put the Devotion back, because that was my favorite LMG. That was actually one of my favorite guns, period. And that gun still freaking melts. So I'm happy with that. As far as Rampart is concerned, Rampart is weak, bro. Like, Rampart is extremely situational. They're going to have to buffer, and I usually never say that, but they're probably going to have to buffer, just like they did for Revenant and his ult too, because her shields are weak. Even though she can put out 3 at a time, her shields are super weak. So if someone catches you while you're trying to like throw that up, they're going to destroy it immediately. Her ult, which is her minigun, it takes forever to bring out, and like anything that's like further than like 10 feet, it seems like just forget about it. You're not going to hit anybody. So like they're gonna have to do some things with her, but she's just extremely situational. You really just gotta camp or be in very, very close quarters, like in buildings and like set up shop, then you can destroy somebody. But for now, like she's not my type of character, so they're gonna have to make some changes for her for sure. But overall, man, I think that this season it's definitely better than season 5, because season 5 was kind of just like a waste. Lobo was cool, but the statistics are saying that people aren't even playing with her, and she's not my type of character either, just not for my play style. She's cool on paper, but they're gonna have to. Well, they did make some changes with her too, and they ended up buffing some characters and nerfing some, but they did a lot more buffs than they did for nerfs character wise. And then with some of the guns, they buffed some and nerfed some. Well, I think overall season 6 is cool, but I'm waiting on that crossplay. I think that's gonna really make me excited. But season 6, so far better than season 5.
I like the crafting system just because I mainly use it to upgrade armor and then like ammo. There's a lot of times where like I'm low on ammo, and so it's nice to be able to just go to the computer and get ammo for the gun that you want. The changes to the shield, first impressions, we'll see how I feel at the end of the season, but right now I'm okay with it. It feels like there's no excuse because everybody has a good shield now pretty much. So it comes down to like gun skill. I think what they could do to balance things out is they need to nerf that Volt, because once you do have the attachments on it, everybody turns into Steph Curry. I'm getting lasered across the fucking map with that shit. That shit needs to get nerfed a little bit. They need to add some more recoil to it with the attachments, because that weapon's just a little too good. But overall, I do enjoy the season. I didn't like Rampart though. I agree with you. She's weak. You throw down her shield, and if you throw it down in front of people, it'll instantly explode when they shoot at it. That shit's weak as hell. And like you said, the ult. I learned this the hard way. I had somebody rushing me down in a narrow hallway, and like they were like 10-15 feet away. I was like, I'm about to throw this ult and mow their ass down. That shit took like fucking a whole hour for her to get on the turret, and then I was literally screaming, shoot, and it would not shoot. Like she has to set her feet and get at the right. And I was like, bro, I don't really like Rampart like that. It's crazy too, because I was worried with the trailer. I was like, yo, she gonna be broken. It's actually quite the opposite. She's weak as hell. I went right back to playing Caustic. I was like, she might be good in ranked because people camp, so she has time to set up her shit. But like just in casual play, nah, she doesn't really work that well. My main complaint is optimization though, and I think that's why I brought up that and like COVID. I think that's kind of affected the development of Apex, because like it was a bitch to even try to download this game. I had to uninstall the whole game just to install the update. I mean, luckily I got gigabyte internet, so it wasn't that big a deal. It was 5 minutes, but I ran into this glitch, and a lot of people did, where like they couldn't even update the game. It kept saying 40 gigabytes, but the actual update's only 10 gigabytes. So then I had to uninstall the game and put it back in. And then like I know the game's been crashing for a lot of people. I personally have not had any optimization issues, but I've been in a lot of streams where like the game crashed on them, people are having issues. So it seems like there's a little bit of lack of polish there compared to previous seasons. And like, I mean, that's COVID, so just be aware of it. But for the most part, I do like the changes that they've made, and if anything, I really hope that they have more limited time events this season, because last season I think there was literally one for season 5. Like we need at least like 3 or 4 of them things. Where the skins at, bro? Where the cool modes at? Like don't just let it sit there, because it got boring. Season 5 definitely got boring. Ethos doesn't play this game because he pays $15 a month to play his game, so I guess we can.
I pay for good games.
Yes. That's crazy, man. I don't understand how Ethos just like instantly turned into a freaking Apex hater. This man was a jammy the game, getting plat and all that. He kind of work.
Remember, Ethos was also hyping Hyperscape. What happened to that game?
Well, I already said that game was trash now. Me and JG have always said that. Come on now. Come on. We've already
I played that shit the other day. I was like, because I had a bounty. That shit sucks, man.
Me and JG have both we've already said this on the podcast about why we don't like Hyperscape no more. They fucked it up with the time.
That was my first time playing it since the technical test, and they updated it. I was in genuine shock. I was like, what did they do to this game?
You literally can feel the game is now worse off.
That's like, crazy that even you felt it, and you say you haven't played it since the tech test. So.
The time to kill was way too long. So like I was chasing people it was boring. I'm like, bruh, can I get a fucking kill? Like it makes me feel like I'm trash because it took.
Funny thing is, they said they boosted the time to kill. Like
they did not.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. But it still feels like it takes longer to kill people.
Fuck that game, bro. That shit sucks, bro.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't feel good, and I'm really disappointed in Ubisoft because, like, I really felt like it could have been my favorite new Battle Royale game. And it was when the time it came out. Like, JG saw, like, we was murking people. And then all they did was a little tweak, and then next thing you know, it was just like, we can't play this game, dog.
I'd be surprised if that game makes it to season 3. They talk about season 1.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like unless like they honestly they got to change the time to kill and some other things, but if they don't do those things and start like really pushing out some more unique stuff, like it's gonna die really like before the end of this year.
It's a no for me, dog. It's a no for me. Let's talk about a game that just came out kind of under the radar. Well, not under the radar. It was recently announced like last month or something like that. But Adult Swim just published a new game, Samurai Jack. What's the subtitle? Samurai Jack what? Something?
Battle Through Time.
Battle Through Time. It's available on all platforms, published by Adult Swim. It's an action-adventure game. Kind of the gist of it is... what's the name? Samurai Jack. Him and Aku are at it again, and he thinks that he's about to slay Aku finally, but Aku makes him go through like, I guess, the greatest moments in the history of the show, and he has to kind of relive them and figure out what's going on. How you feeling about this one, JG?
I'm actually pleasantly surprised, more for the amount of depth that the game has. Like, you have a lot of different weapons that you can grab. You have different skill trees. And I think that for me initially coming in thinking it was just going to be like a basic hack and slash game, to like actually seeing like everything that you can possibly get. Like, I think that's the most important part for me that makes me like, all right, like I'm more intrigued to play through it. The combat is decent. Again, like once you end up getting more of the upgrades and it becomes a better type of situation, and the weapons too. I think that the gameplay style, as far as like how it looks, it's nice. Like you're actually like, you know, in the cutscene, like you're watching like the actual cartoon. I thought that was cool for like the intro and whatnot. But I do like the art style. The art style is really nice. I like all the voice acting. The voice acting was on point. A lot of people just felt like, you know, they were watching the actual cartoon when I was playing it last night. So I think that they did a really, really good job with that. I hate that, like, I actually need to like go back and watch Samurai Jack because I feel like I didn't know shit like and playing the game again. So a lot of people were like, oh yeah, well this happened and this happened and this happened. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like I forgot.
I didn't watch the new season, so yeah, I didn't know some of the new stuff. Like I was like, who's this chick with the haircut? I didn't know who that was.
Yeah, it was a lot of people who I just like forgot about or just didn't know because I didn't watch the latest stuff. But I think overall, like, it's a nice little like pull up game. It's nothing too serious, but I think that it has enough depth to keep you intrigued. The one negative that I will say, and I have no idea why they added this to the game, like this is the worst mechanic ever. Don't put this in your game. If you're playing, if you're making any type of action adventure game, it's weapon durability. I don't know why this game has weapon durability. As soon as I found it out, I was like, oh hell no. Nah. Like, come on now. Like, just give me the weapon. And just
my bow and arrow broke in the middle of a boss fight. I was like, nah.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man. Like, you ain't gotta do this to me. So I think that's like one of like my glaring negatives about like the entire game. But I played like maybe got like a few hours into it, and I'm going to continue to play it. I think it's a cool game, and a lot of people seem to like it when they were watching me play. So I think it's nice. It's a nice little game.
You know, it's funny. I was saying on stream that like some of my favorite games this year have been like because I would consider this like a B tier game. It's not AAA, but it's not like a shitty little hipster indie game either. It's like somewhere in the middle. It's like a decent quality game. Mm-hmm. And like I was genuinely surprised by it. Like that, the Destroy All Humans remaster and like the SpongeBob game. Like it's not like super huge games, but like they're simple fun, and that's what how I kind of would describe this. There is more depth. It has a large skill tree, but at the end of the day, it's still a hack and slash game with like a parry and stuff. But I enjoy it for what it is. It owns it. It feels like an old school kind of like PS2 type GameCube action adventure game, but it owns it. It's not trying to pretend like it's anything more than that, and I can appreciate that. And also, like, this game is actually really optimized. I was surprised on PC. It runs buttery smooth. It's way more fluid, especially after playing. It was really nice. I played this after I played the Avengers beta last night, and it was like the way Jack moves is much more like smooth. Like, okay, I was like, okay, Adult Swim, I see y'all. Okay, y'all got a decent little game or whatever. But yeah, don't go into this thinking like it's gonna be some mind-blowing experience. Like, it is what it is. It's like a game made for Samurai Jack fans, hack and slash with like a skill tree. There's a little bit of exploration because there's items to collect and stuff. But it's simple fun. I like it for what it is, and it's only $40. Like, I personally feel like the industry needs more games like this. Like, everything doesn't have to be some spectacle $60 game. Make some cheaper games. Like I said, Destroy All Humans was only $30. Like, this is only $40. Like, and I'm thoroughly enjoying like both of these games. Like, I don't need the Avengers gonna be $60, and that shit don't even fucking work. So
crazy, bro. Yeah, what you think about it? That's crazy. Look at all that money that's probably being poured into Avengers, and like just compared to Adult Swim making a Samurai Jack game and reviving that, and a lot of people like seem to enjoy it. So I think it's cool.
Sometimes the best art comes from limited resources, because when you have limited resources, you're forced to work with what you have and make the most of it. And I think an example of that is like The Mandalorian. Like the budget wasn't on the scale of like the movie, so they were forced to work with what they had, and it forced more character development and world building. And that show, I thoroughly enjoyed The Mandalorian way more than, what was that dog shit? The last one.
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, Rise of the Shitwalker. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed The Mandalorian more, and it's like sometimes less is more. And I think that's Samurai Jack is dope. It's $40. It's cool. Did you play this, Ethos?
No, I did not, but I want to really bad because I was a huge Samurai Jack fan. So I'll probably play it eventually when I get some time.
It's fan service. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably exactly what I'm talking. I'm probably the target audience. So I was like, yeah.
What's the name? So yeah, definitely check it out if you're looking for something to play. I always say the most masculine thing a man can do is take care of his hygiene. I mean, how can you take care of someone else if you can't take care of your own? But the reality is, walking up and down the aisles of your local store can be confusing. I know it was for me at one time. It was tons of brands, but you're really not sure what to choose. The worst offenders are the skincare products. It's nothing but words of things you'd never heard of on the bottle. That was me at one point until I started asking the women in my life what I should try. I think back and I wasted so much time, so I won't waste yours. I recommend today's sponsor, Hawthorne. Hawthorne is a hygiene brand tailored towards men. They carry all types of products such as cologne, soaps, lotions, deodorants, hand creams, and more. And the best part is, all you have to do is fill out their 2-minute quiz on their website, and they'll suggest the products that fit your lifestyle. I love that their colognes come in a set of 2, one for work and another for play. That versatility allows you to be dynamic at every social event. Research has shown that women's sense of smell is stronger, so it makes sense that they tend to compliment me more at social events. Y'all should see the smile on my girl's face when I say I'm about to put on some Hawthorne. Things went from, oh babe, you should try wearing cologne more often, I really like cologne, to, oh, let's go somewhere nice so you can rock that Hawthorne. And the best part is that you can try Hawthorne free. Hawthorne provides free shipping and free returns, so what do you have to lose? Open your web browser on your computer or your phone's web browser and head on over to hawthorne.co, and that's Hawthorne with an E, and use code GI at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. Again, that's hawthorne.co, and use code GI at checkout for 10% off your first purchase. Does anybody want to talk about Fall Guys? I don't know.
No, I don't care about that pedo game.
Yeah, I don't care either. I agree. It's for pedophiles. I agree.
I mean, we can
I'm just kidding. I'm in jest. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we can at least mention it. Has anybody in here played it? I don't think
I played it. That shit
you did
sucks, bro. That shit sucks.
Why does it suck? Why does it like it?
It's just I listen, like somebody was like, who was it? Like Shy in the chat was like, oh, you don't like party games? I was like, no, I love Mario Party. This shit is just too cute and annoying to me. Like niggas running around with fucking furry outfits. The music, like it's just and then the physics of the game, I don't get it. I feel like it's another case of like it's free to play, so everybody can play it. It's up to like 66 people, I think, in a lobby or something like that. It's just something for people to do during COVID, but I don't think it's a very good game. I don't get it.
Because do you think like the game blew up the way that it did because it's COVID and everybody's at home, they have nothing to play, so they're like, well, let's just try this out. I don't know like how it blew up like that. Like it's actually pretty amazing. Like shout out to Devolver. Like somehow, some way, they always get that one game that is just like it just freaking blows up. So I know they're just rolling it though, bro.
That's like every game this year, though. Like Valorant did the same thing, right? Like didn't come out like everyone was like, "Oh, this fucking came out of nowhere," and everyone was just all fucking hyped about it, right? Like the same thing.
No, that's
Valorant had a machine behind it.
Yeah, they had a machine. They're gonna play it regardless.
You said what?
There's no machine behind Fall Guys.
I didn't think so. No.
Other than the fact that it's free to play, no. That was all word of mouth.
Let me tell you something about marketing. Like there always is. Like there's no such thing nowadays about like a game just this just came out of nowhere and everyone was like I promise you, like if you check the history of however the fuck Fall Guys became popular, I bet you it had to do with some some sort of influencer call. Like it has to be some big, because like small games really don't out of nowhere become popular. It's because somebody of influence talked about it, spread it, played it, and then everyone else was like, "Oh, this game looks fun." Like what's that game that Gypsy's trying to get me to play? What's that?
Among Us.
Among Us, yeah, that Among Us thing. I was like, okay, like that's the same thing, right? Like that game came out years ago, and all of a sudden now it's like really popular. I see multiple people playing it. It's like because like Twitch streamers and some other people are playing it, and everyone's like, "Oh, I've never heard of it. Those games look cool."
Okay, I mean, I'll give you.
I could be wrong. I mean, it could have been.
They probably proof on whether or not they were paid though.
Yeah, they probably did get some influencers, but I still would argue that like just me personally, besides like any influencer that they might have reached out to, because like even we even got the emails about it. And I was
you guys were paid.
I didn't get paid. They would just like we fucked with the
ball. We're important. We're on their PR list. We're important.
Exactly. Devolver. Like I said, they mess with us heavy, but like I wasn't interested to play it. I just didn't think that it was it was that type of game that I would enjoy. And then all of a sudden I see Siggy playing it and talking about people grabbing his ass and stuff. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I'm like, you wildin' right now. I see Ace playing it, and I'm just like, I mean, like it's cool. Like it got so big that
it's a fun game, right? It has to be like a fun game for people to do that. Right?
It's obviously fun. It's fun and frustrating. So frustrating that you have people like, huh?
Didn't Flock like it too?
No, he didn't like it. He was playing with me. He didn't like it at all.
Oh, okay, I thought.
No, there you go. But yeah, like it's gained so much traction that you have like a freaking Tim the Tatman win watch. Like that's crazy. Like ESPN was tweeting like it was so many people that were behind that whole movement.
That's clout chasing.
But Fall Guys ate it up though. Like they were like, okay, like this is one of the biggest trends.
It's their game, but I'm talking about everybody else was clout chasing.
Yeah, I mean they have really good. They had a really good community. Like I was watching, like they even interact with like CD Projekt Red for Cyberpunk. Like and they talk back and forth about like, oh, we should collab. Can you put a Fall Guy in Cyberpunk like in this part? Right? Like it's crazy. Like they just like every company knows like, okay, we have to interact. Like Kool-Aid guy was interacting with the game. Like.
Everybody's like embracing the game like another phenomenon. It's crazy.
I mean, but it's a kid's game. It has that Fortnite allure to it, like kitty,
That's why I think it's like a kid's game and it's free to play. That's what it is.
But adults are playing it and just like and they're playing it and they're super competitive like for this game, which is like I didn't see it being that type of thing.
Yeah, I seen the game has hackers too. I was like, yeah, okay.
And so when they told me that, I was like, wow, really?
What a bunch of losers.
It's funny too.
Just because it's a VR game. I mean, I know that it was a party game, but yeah, like since it has people just dropping in, they're like, oh, it's a battle royale game. I was like, all right, cool. I just wasn't expecting it to be like that. I didn't understand the premise at first, and now that I see people playing it, I'm like, well, y'all are like really serious about this.
Yeah, fucking games for pedophiles.
All guys wouldn't be me.
That actually leads into the next conversation too, because I don't know if you've seen the clip that was floating around. It first went viral on TikTok. There was this guy basically complaining, and it actually has to do with Fall Guys. He was complaining that there's too many tryhards in Fall Guys. And if you didn't see the video, I linked it on the show notes. But the gist of it is like he was saying that the Fall Guys has only been out a week and the game is full of tryhards. They're ruining the game. He just wants to have fun, and tryhards are ruining all games. So this turned into like a big ass debate on Twitter. Are tryhards ruining games? How y'all feel about that?
As the resident tryhard of GI, I will say that dude is wrong and he's an idiot, but whatever.
I thought it was funny that he was complaining at a Fall Guys. They're so fun. I like, Brett, it's like a fucking kid's game. Why are you so hurt?
Why you hurt over it? Like, I go the same logic and say, why are you upset about it's a game, bro. It's like a child's game. Like, why are you getting upset about that? Some people want to be good at it, whatever.
Oh my God.
I can understand both sides, because yeah, it's definitely a kid's game. Like out of all the games that you are upset at, why Fall Guys? Like when you get to the generalization of you being mad at Fall Guys, it's kind of an issue. But if we're talking about like the overall spectrum, yeah, I can see why. Like people who just try extremely too hard and like you're just trying to have fun. And like they're just like you're just getting super tryhards in every single game that you play, and you're like, damn, like why do I even want to play this game anymore? Like I'm just trying to like have fun and like pull up some or something, and I got like super competitive people that end up in my lobbies every single time, and they're just destroying me, and I'm not having fun because I'm not winning. Yeah, I mean it would like have a damper on your overall gaming experience for that game and possibly other games too. But you already know what the response is going to be. Get good.
I sure was about to say that. So get good, bro. Like, this is the result of everybody gets a trophy society we live in now, bro. Like, I just want to have fun. The reality is, you would have fun if you were what it really comes down, if we break down that there's too many tryhards on the game, what that comes down to is you just want to win. The reality is, deep down you're not good enough, so you're gonna blame the tryhards. Just get good. What the fuck are we talking about here, dog? Like, if you really enjoy the game that much, you would get better. I mean, you see it with me. Most of the time, I don't give a fuck about most multiplayer games we get. As long as I'm like halfway decent, so I'm not the worst NGI like that, I'm cool with that. But if I genuinely like a game, it'll inspire me to get good at it. But it's like, if you claim to like this game, then why don't you just get fucking good? And that's why you don't ever hear me complain. Like, I don't give a fuck about this game. Fuck y'all, dog. Like, people be thinking I'd be lying about that shit.
Did he even say, he was like, oh, that's why I don't play video games anymore? Because it's like everyone's try hard and stuff.
Such a bitch ass up there, dog. What are we talking about? You don't even play games.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. But like I said, there's a difference between like tryhards and super competitive people and just people who are straight up cheating. Because cheaters,
cheaters. You can complain about hackers.
You can complain about those, and it would make you not want to play again. That's why I didn't play Warzone for a while, because I'm like, the hackers are they're going rampant. Like, it gets to a ridiculous point where you can't do anything. So a situation like that, absolutely, I'm going to complain, and like, I'm just not going to play it. It's just going to make me not want to play that.
Hyperscape got him too.
Hyperscape does got him. I saw them hacks too. Them hacks are ridiculous in that game too.
Shooting you from
like,
a mile
it's ridiculous.
away.
Yeah, when you got people like that, then of course, like, it makes you not want to play anything.
Yeah,
but you talking about try hard, bro? You just being a crybaby. I'm sorry, you being a crybaby.
Do you not try hard like in real life? Like, in the reality is, in this world, there will be winners and losers. Pick which side you want to be on. The winners ain't making videos crying about a fucking kids game, fucking Barney Simulator. They're just trying way too hard, bro. You sound like a fucking loser.
Barney Simulator.
That's what that shit is. That shit is for little kids, bro. Anyways, let's move on to the news section of the podcast. The biggest story of like the last couple weeks is Goliath versus an even bigger Goliath. Fucking Epic Games is taking on Apple in a lawsuit. So for those of you unaware, let me give a quick summary. So in order to get your game or app on the Apple or Google store, and do in-app purchases, those two respective app stores take 30% profit. So whenever Fortnite would get some V-Buck sales on the Apple or the Google store, Apple and Google would take 30% of those profits. For Apple, Epic doesn't like that. So what they decided to do is they tried to circumvent it, and they allowed users to be able to divide V-Bucks directly through their store instead of through Apple. And if you did, you would get a discount. Apple doesn't make any money, and that really upset them, as well as Google. So Apple's response and Google's response was they removed Fortnite from their respective app stores. And within the hour, magically, Epic Games had like a 20-page lawsuit ready for Apple and Google. So now they're at war. Then they released this whole Fortnite 1984 commercial, which spoofed the original Apple's 1984, talking about, how the man is trying to control everything and people monopolies. And so basically they're now at war. This is still an ongoing story, so we don't know how this is going to play out. But I'm going to actually throw it to our residential game developer to see how we feel about the Fortnite versus Apple. Oh, hashtag free Fortnite. That's the thing. They're doing an event and they're selling hats now too.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah. They're doing an event and they're selling merch. Hashtag free Fortnite. So it was obviously, in my opinion at least, very premeditated. But how you feeling about this, Ethos?
I don't know. Like, one side of me feels that like this is just two like million trillion companies that are just fighting.
It's
for each
literally
other.
A billionaire versus a trillionaire.
Yeah, trillionaire fighting it for like company thing. The only thing is that like me, from like who I am and like what I'm like, basically, like, from my perspective, it's best, and like a game developer's perspective, it's best if if Epic wins this lawsuit, because if they win this, there's a lot of good implications that come with that, like just developers getting more money in general, and like the 30% cut, which I'm not gonna lie, is like it's kind of really bullshit. Like, when you think about it, like, that's 30% of their cut. And like a lot of game developers have like, they've publicly like put out some numbers to help like explain why this is like a big deal, like from their side, is that which a lot of gamers don't see, which is like the actual like merchant like fees and stuff that actually go into it. So when you're paying for like certain DLC or stuff like that on their marketplaces, where it's like, oh, you know, I'm only paying like $10 for DLC for this skin or something like that. Like what the development company actually gets their hands on actually ends up being something like $4. Like it's not even as much as, you know,
it's a lot of money too. Like just to like put it in perspective for people. Like I know for like Hollywood and like sports, like the average rate is like 10 to 15% for like representation, 20 like max. 30%. Let's say a game makes $1 million. That means Apple gets $300,000 of your money. That's money that could be used to pay staff or go back into your. That's a lot of fucking money. So yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
No, but I mean that's basically it, right? Like what we're talking about is like there's a boatload of money of just money that's just getting left on the table to like Apple for just saying that like, oh, okay, well, you have your game on our store, right? And but the thing is that you don't understand is like they're already making like a boatload of money off of that, like off just putting it there. And then on top of that, if there's fees for getting your sort of like your game or your whatever application onto that store, like I know Steam does the same where it's like 30%. I mean, not 30%. Well, they do the 30% thing, but on top of that, there's like a price you have to pay just to get your game on the store. So like there's that type of pricing. And this kind of goes into like, well, if I need to make money like with microtransactions for my game, there's fees for like that actual transfer of money. Like you have to have a merchant that like actually controls like, oh, right, they give you their credit card information and then they take the money out. And then there's a fee out of that for that transfer that they're paying for that service. So like there's a bunch of services inside of these services that are like pulling money out. And then when you look at it at the end of the day, like developers aren't even getting close to 50% of that like total transaction money. Like when you go through like all the math and you divvy it all up, the actual profit they make is really small. So like there's a big argument. I know like people argue and say, well, it's a AAA game. They already make like a whole lot of money and stuff. Like there's a lot of big arguments with like indie games and like smaller games where it's just like if they had those extra funds, if they had the extra money, like certain games would be able to get more content. Like certain games would be able to like keep their games going for longer if they were actually able to like make a profit. Because the thing you have to understand is that like a lot of games have to hit a certain threshold of like a profit margin. And like if your margin is automatically being destroyed by a 30% cut, and on top of that stuff, less games succeed at the margin point that a lot of companies, publishers want. And then that's why you don't get sequels for those games. That's why you don't get, extended support for them. So if Epic wins this, then that means that like a lot of those smaller games, a lot of those games that necessarily like the margins for them to be quote unquote successful reduce, and that means that like we can potentially get more games that are funded, get more games that like we really like that just didn't get like.
I sure was about to say that, yeah, because that means they're gonna have more money to invest in themselves.
Yeah, like I can't see why any gamer who actually like tries to understand this would want Apple to beat Epic, unless like you're like one of those people who just hates Epic because Epic Game Store bad, EA, Epic Games bad, AAA game bad, I hate gaming now bad, Chinese spyware, like that. Those are the only people who probably like without like actually looking at the legal documentation behind this. Like they're going to be those type of people. But like at the end of the day, the thing you have to understand is that like there's a lot of other like there's a lot of levels to this. I highly recommend that. Like I started reading a little bit of the lawsuit, and I haven't gone through all of it yet. But a lot of people are like, oh, Epic's in trouble. Like, no, Epic's not even in trouble. Like, I've said this, even I tweeted this. Tim Sweeney's been shit-talking Apple on Twitter for like 6 months. For the past like 6 months about how shitty their practices. You can see them on Twitter themselves. This was literally like a bait. Like, Epic set this up from the beginning. It's like what you said, TBH. Like, how do you have a 20-page like lawsuit ready to go the moment it happens? It's not like Apple. Yeah, they baited Apple into this because they wanted to have a legal precedence of what is it called? What is the anti-competition? And if Epic wins this argument, which is what Tim Sweeney seems to be like his whole like crusade has been about, it causes huge legal implications across the board for like everything across the board, where a lot of these like big companies like Google and like Apple and stuff like that, who like have these like huge like storefronts, and they're charging like the people to use those storefronts like an absorbent amount of money, where a lot of other industries don't even charge you close to 30%. It's like really, it's a lot of our like industry, digital entertainment industry. What you're going to see is like a lot of things can change. Now, I know some people will be like, well, it won't matter because it's not like game developers are going to lower their prices of like DLC now because of this like thing. It's like, yeah, of course, but what you're going to get for that is they're going to get higher profit margins, which means they're going to get more support for the games, which means you're going to get new games and more games are going to get funded because the profit margin will be easier to obtain. So I see this as like a win. Like if Epic, like I see no positive like aspect of Apple winning. That like helps you as a consumer. Like there's no positive that
I'm gonna say I could see a way, because if they sign some type of contract or like the terms of service says within Apple, you can't do that, and like that's them not honoring the contract. Because regardless of what you say, it is good for the consumer what Epic is trying to do. A contract is a contract, and you can't just do whatever you want. And that's why I said me personally, I feel like Epic might not win this one. But
I think they will. I think it will be close. I don't think it's going to be some like, oh, Epic has no chance, because you got to understand, like the actual legal presence they have on this. Like they have some really I think I was like Googling a couple of lawyers. Like we're talking like top antitrust, anti-competition lawyers that are on this case that believe like there's actually a chance. And as you know how lawyers work, like they ain't gonna take a case that they don't think there's a chance they can even win it. So there's a belief that there's a chance that they could strongly get out of this. And I granted, if they lose, worst comes to worst, I think for Apple is maybe they have to pay. Not Apple. Worst comes to worst for Epic. It's not like this is gonna bankrupt them. I'm positive. Like worst comes to worst, they're gonna pay Apple for like any of the funding that they got out of that like application that went out circumvented the App Store. If that's the case, but then if what Apple would argue and say to their face and say, well, you're saying 30% because we're using your in-game microtransaction, payment system in order to get that money, and that's why we need to pay you 30%, right? That would be the logic system. And so you have to, if you use that system, you have to pay us 30%. Okay, that's cool. That makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm using your system. I to like get money out of your player base for the game. All right, so let me make a different one. Let me make one inside of my own game, so then I don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that, and then we're all cool, right? No, bro, you're gonna have to use ours regardless. Oh, well, what doesn't that cause like anti-competition then? Like, don't you want to be more competitive? No, we're a monopoly. You're gonna have to do by our rules. Period. That's where I could see the legal argument.
I'd say it this much: there's a reason why a lot of your favorite games are going to the Epic Game Store, and I think it's because Epic is treating them really well. The funny thing is, like, I'm at a point where like I use the Epic Game Store more than Steam at this point. Yeah. I have a lot of games on there at this point. I'm actually looking. I don't know if y'all know, but Hitman 3 will be exclusive to the Epic Game Store for the first year. Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, and like I can't get into like the very specifics of stuff, but like what I can say is the reason why this stuff is happening is it's not they're stealing games or something. Like, it's not that craziness. It's simply that what's happening is that a lot of games that get them over to the edge of what they need extra funding. And like, I'll give you an example. Hitman's a perfect example of this. This is why the Hitman argument's really good, is that Hitman lost Square Enix. They're by themselves. They're on their own. So instead of going to a different publisher, and even they said this in their press release, Epic was like, here, we'll give you money. Just put your thing on our system, and we're going to give you like a boatload of money to help you like fund the game to make the game you want it to be. So like, I think like that's crucial. I definitely have issues with like, people like Borderlands, like grabbing up deals like that, where it was just like, bro, like you already got a publisher, you got boatloads of money, and like you're like taking even more money, which then the product you're gonna
get the exclusive bag, and they also get a higher profit margin, because I think Epic only takes 10%, I believe.
It's even lower. Like the whole argument, people are like, well, Epic was going to do this with EGS. It's like, no, it's not. It's ridiculous. Like if you actually look into it, Epic's like pricing is like 12%, which is like way more fair. I'd be more fine with like someone saying, well, give me 12% or 10%. I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fair. That's more than fair for like, for using the service and stuff like that. But like 30% is like, in my eyes, is just fucking ridiculous. But like, not only that, on top of that, but if you're like, for example, if you're using their Epic, if you're using the Unreal Engine, right, it goes even lower. Like there's even a point where you don't even have to pay royalties for the engine if you put your game on EGS. You're like, all right, you're going to use our system and stuff like that. You're going to support our ecosystem. You know what? Don't even pay us shit, because you're using like our products, you're helping support, you're making great games. Don't even pay anything for that. Like this is just stuff
Do you think the ultimate play is possibly they might come out with their own app store?
I mean, they did that for Google, right? Like, wasn't it not on the Google store, and you'd have to go through like some, because it was Google, right? You'd have to go through some third party.
Yeah, like I'm saying, coming out with the Epic Games App Store for Google and Apple, if possible,
and like put like video games on that.
Yeah,
I could see Tim Sweeney doing that. I don't know. Again, like I mean, I can't think inside, like I can't go inside his brain and figure out exactly what his plan is. But like I could definitely see that as a possibility, but I don't really see that as an end game. So that's the problem. Like I have is very weird. Is like, I mean, I already have a distrust towards corporations, because corporations only believe in the bottom line, which is like, how much money can we make? So obviously everything Epic is doing is obviously at the point that like, we're going to get more money off this in game. Like that's the point. But like on top of that, what Tim Sweeney is like fighting against, like the crusade that he's on, benefits other people. It's not just like, yes, Epic Games, it benefits Epic Games, but it also benefits a boatload of other people in the industry. And so like there's this like weird middle ground that you're having with a corporation where it's like, you know, obviously they're working to like increase their profit margins, and this helps Epic Games become even bigger, but it also helps a bunch of other people. So it's like reaching, you know, it's like going back to the hood and pulling people out of it with them. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I can't tell you what the end game is. Like maybe Tim Sweeney is being honest when he's saying that like he's doing this because like he really does believe in like open platforms and like developers being able to put their games on whatever they want and being able to get fair pricing and fair like revenue for their games and not being like forced down by monopoly corporations like Apple and Google. Like that could be it. There could be like, you know, maybe there's a long game that Tim Sweeney's doing that we just don't know, which is like he's planning on like launching his own app store or stuff like that. So he wants to like, you know, thin out the competition or like affect the competition. That could be another thing. It's just like there's so many variables to it. We just won't know until like time passes.
I think the irony of this all is Epic Games, a major stakeholder in Epic Games is Tencent. So it's funny that the company that's owned by China is fighting for the consumer rights. So
but Tencent's not owned by I'm sorry, Epic isn't owned by Tencent, right?
They own like 40-something%, don't they?
Yeah, but that doesn't make you a majority shareholder. So like,
no, but I'm saying like they own enough that they can.
They don't. Because if you look at like how companies work, right, with stock, like Siggy could tell you this, like whoever has a majority, their opinion goes through. So like that whole idea that like Tencent is low key, like I'm not even gonna go into the conspiracy theory that.
Well, I was gonna say the China narrative. Yeah. I was actually gonna say the China narrative is trying to take out because he's actually fighting for consumers.
Yeah, I've seen people go as crazy enough to say that, use this crazy analogy that like because Tencent owns 40%, they've twisted Epic's arm into like making them do this legal play that could end up really good for them, because if that happens, then they take down 2 American companies that then help China. Like I've heard like some crazy ass conspiracies like that, and it's like it's not even close. It's as simple as like if you just actually know anything about business, Tim Sweeney owns 50% of the Epic. That means he is the majority shareholder of Epic Games. I mean, his decision is what matters. They can the 40%, the 30%, they can give their opinion. Tencent could say, "Oh, we'd like you to do that and that," but at the end of the day, Tim Sweeney is the majority. Like if Tim Sweeney lost his 50% to another person as well, and he became like a minority, then like there would be like a more of a battle play. But as long as Tim Sweeney owns 50% of the company, there's nothing Tencent can do except for like, we would like you to do this, and Tim Sweeney's like, yeah, no, go fuck yourself. Like, and there's nothing they could do about it. Like they'd have to like literally do like a hostile takeover and like obtain more shares and get over 50% before Tencent could ever like make Epic do anything. That's why like the whole argument about Tencent owning like 40% is like, it's pointless. It's just literally they do that so that they can make boatloads of money off of Epic Games. That's like it.
I'm not watching DC fandom right now, but I'm on Twitter. It looks like they just announced a new Suicide Squad movie. It looks like a reboot. It's being
it pretty much is what they said.
Yeah, James Gunn film. Yeah, there's a poster right now on Twitter.
Has all the characters on there. Yeah, I'm literally watching right now. They had all the characters on the
I see Static Shock trending. Hold on.
So just so anybody knows, we're recording this while DC fandom is going on. So if we missed something in the podcast, we apologize. But we had to get this episode up, so maybe we'll talk about it if there's. Well, we're gonna talk about one thing that was announced this morning, but
if they announce the Static Shock thing, I'll lose my mind, dog.
Yeah, we're not gonna have all the DC fandom news for you on this episode. Anyways, it'll be interesting.
Well,
you got any hot takes on this, Jay? The shit?
I'll talk for like 15 minutes about it. One thing that I was interested about, and I guess I never really thought about, is the fact that they also take 30% off time for in-app purchases, especially like because Fortnite is free. Like I can see, if you're paying money for in-app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store, but all in-app purchases as well, that was the one thing that kind of like just really struck a nerve. But also the fact that Apple is getting even more petty, and they were like, well, we're going to take the developer tools off of Epic as well, just cut your access. So I'm like, Jesus. And that really gives me the thought that they might just end up deciding, well, we're just going to make our own app store, like you all mentioned. I think that was really the nail in the coffin that might end up forcing Epic to do that if they end up losing this. I think if they end up winning, then maybe they'll just Apple pay the money or whatever, and then they'll just call it a day. But I think if they don't, and I think that it really just goes more for the fact that Apple has it in the terms of service. I think that's really the major play that kind of leads me towards like Epic might end up losing. But we'll see how this ends up. But both sides are being petty. I love it, but hate it at the same time.
Idris Elba is Deadshot.
Yeah. Well,
I think.
Huh?
Maybe I'm wrong. Who the fuck is he supposed to be?
What?
Wait, is that Static on the poster in the middle? Oh no, it's Boomerang Man. Never mind. It looked like he had a lightning in the coat. Look at the poster. It dead ass, and then I realized he got boomerangs in his hands. Like, it looks like Static with the coat and then the lightning in the middle. At least it looks like.
My boy Idris Elba's in this, and I guess he's Deadshot. So I mean,
he looks like Deadshot's outfit.
They got Idris Elba, John Cena. They got a lot of people. They got
where John Cena at? I can't see him. I can't see him on the poster. Where's he at?
He's on.
John Cena.
He's there. No, John Cena's there. I forgot what character he is.
That joke flew over y'all head.
You can't. You can't.
I couldn't see him on the poster.
Whatever. I didn't catch it. Anyway, let's move on.
Oh shit. Anyways, next piece of news. So since we're actually talking about DC fandom, what was announced right before we started recording the show is a new co-op game from WB Montreal called Gotham Knights. It will star Batgirl, Robin, what's old boy? What's old grown Robin's name? What's his name? Nightwing, and then Red Hood. And it looks like I don't know what the fuck you're doing in this game, but it looked fire. So let's talk about that. Gotham Knights. How are we feeling about this, Jay? The gameplay they revealed as well as the trailer.
This is a great surprise because this isn't even Rocksteady. Like, I didn't know that WB Montreal was working on their own like Batman game. The fact that this is co-op, even though it's 2-player co-op, I can deal with it. It's fine. It looks really good. Well, minus it, I did see some frame rate skills, but hopefully they, end up fixing that. But just from the gameplay trailer that we saw and the original trailer, teaser trailer, this game looks really good. I'm actually very, very happy that we're not playing Batman again. I was seeing people already on Twitter like, wow, why are we not playing the Batman? Why are we not playing the Batman? Like, he died or he faked his death. So, like, why are you expecting to continue to play with him? Like, I have no problem. I've been wanting to play with Nightwing for a while. A hell of people have been wanting to play with Red Hood. Remember when we put that rumor of that Rocksteady was working on a Red Hood video game? Then, everybody was all for that and actually like gained a lot of traction as well on our website. So like, we're getting Red Hood now. So are we still upset or no? Like, I don't get it. Like, you wanted them and now
Red Hood and more.
and now you're upset like that he's there. So like I said, I fucks with Red Hood, I fucks with Nightwing, and then like even Batgirl, like, cause they showed a lot of scenes with her in the gameplay trailer. Like, Batgirl was kicking ass too. Like, everybody looked nice. So I'm very excited about this because like I said, it was a pleasant surprise. Like, I wasn't expecting WB Montreal to come with their own Batman game before we even see what Rocksteady is doing with Suicide Squad. So, and we're supposed to see that later on today. So like, we got 2 games and we don't know if they're both coming out next year. This one is supposed to be coming out 2021. No date yet, of course, but then we got to see what Rocksteady is coming out with and whether they're going to drop theirs next year as well.
What's the name? It was like it looked really fire. Like, off rip, I was like, yo, this is gonna be some funny ass streams because like, this looks like the Assassin's Creed game that should have been Unity because they were sneaking around on roofs doing stealth shit together. That's gonna be funny with playing with friends and shit. It's like, off rip, I'm excited about that. My only concern is if you were paying attention to the gameplay, they had levels over their head, and I'm like, oh my god, is this another looter? Is this another looter shooter? Like, please just let it be skill based. I don't want to upgrade equipment and loot shoot. I just want to fucking sneak. Like, imagine sneaking around with your friends and you get caught because your equipment isn't high enough when you do your stealth attack, so you don't kill them. It's like fucking some of the newer Assassin's Creed. That's just gonna be annoying. That's just gonna be fucking annoying. So that's my concern with it. Also, which Robin was that? Because Damien's the one that has the sword. Why didn't they pick Damien? I want to bust a nigga head.
It's not Damien.
It's Tim Drake, I think.
Yes, it is.
Drake better. I don't know.
Nah, fuck that. I want to bust a nigga head with that sword, bro. Why didn't they do Damien? And then
he has the pole instead of the sword. So
yeah, that was like the worst one, wasn't he? The worst one.
People liked Tim Drake, apparently. I don't know why.
Fuck that nigga. I'm excited though to play Red Hood though, like shooting the guns and shit. That should look cool as hell. I'm actually curious to see, does what character you play affect the story and like the dialogue? Because that would be fire. Like,
I guess we'll have to figure it out, but it is drop in, drop out. So I don't know how the story is going to be. Like, are they going to force you to play with everybody? Or it's just you choose one character and then like whoever else drops in, that they could just choose a character and they're basically just fighting with you and maybe some dialogue between those two, but overall it's still your story, your game. I don't know how they're going to do that. I would assume they would do the former, which is just have you play with everybody at one point, but if one person can play with you throughout the entire story, then that's not going to work. So I think that's one interesting dynamic that we'll just have to wait and see how they end up playing with that.
Yeah, and for all those crying about you don't get to play as Batman, like it was pretty obvious from the trailer, Batgirl's the leader of the team, so there you go, that's close enough.
Oh no, a woman!
She looked cool to me. I won't play her. She looked cool.
Yeah, no, Batgirl looked lit.
Yeah, she looked lit as hell.
I forget what y'all talking about.
Fucking, what was I about to say? I'm curious to see what they do in terms of like what character are they going to add any new characters, and also another reason I'm excited is too because I feel like Batman Arkham Origins was underrated. I feel like it got a lot of hate because I mean I understand it was unnecessary and like they were just trying to cash in on the popularity, but I still put Arkham Origins above Arkham Knight. So I like WB Montreal. They had some fire boss fights, and I'd compare them to the entire series Arkham Origins. So to me, based off that, I'm gonna assume that Gotham Knights is gonna have some fire boss fights, but now you can do it co-op and playing with friends. I'm just curious to see what they do new with the gameplay loop, and do they enhance the combat mechanics, or will it be the same? I hope they do something to twist up the formula. And no Batmobile, no fucking Batmobile,
no Batmobile tank, please, no tank.
Any hot
no tank.
Go ahead.
That's a no tank. I don't want a tank. No.
Go ahead, Jay.
We did have she was riding on a bike though. So
yeah,
at least
cool.
have one vehicle. Yeah,
like the one from the Nolan films. What was it, the two-wheeler one?
But that shit was lit though. She ran on a bike and then just hopped up and ended up on the roof, and then your boy dropped down, and like the sequences just looked nice. It looked very fluid. But like I said, besides the little frame rate skip, so I definitely peeped that. I was
Could be the stream.
I was like, oh god, yeah. I was like, y'all flesh it out because it's coming out next year, so y'all have time.
The potential combos, pulling up with like Robin, a bad girl, kicking someone in the air, and then using Red Hood to gun them down like Dante. That shit gonna be fire. I'm excited for it.
I'm sorry, am I the only one that like doesn't care about like the normal fight style that like Rocksteady has essentially like perfected in these type of games?
You don't care like, if they tweak it or not?
No, yeah, I mean obviously like there's going to be some tweaks, but like even if they didn't, like I wouldn't care. Like I like the game for like the story, and I feel like since we're not playing with Batman anymore, like they're going to bring even different dynamics to the game, like as far as like the overall combat style between the four characters. So like I never really cared about it. Like I know a lot of people like, oh man, because they were kind of complaining, about Spider-Man with that too. But obviously Spider-Man could do a huge, array of moves compared to Batman. So like it's still like it was similar in concept, but it was still different type of combat. And you had different type of gadgets and stuff. So like at the end of the day, I didn't really see that as being the same. So like I feel like it'll be the same way with this. Even if the combat style is based off of where Rocksteady perfected, it's still going to be different.
Yeah, I feel that. You kind of are just playing for the story. I'll say this though, one more kind of like critique. I really hope they make some edits to like Gotham. Like they don't just reuse assets, create some like new interesting areas in the city. Cause I don't want to like be flying around and sneaking around. It's the same exact fucking city. Like, let's see how, like, I remember how like in Arkham City, they shut off a certain part and it looked completely different because it was a jailhouse. Like how's that going to work? I'm curious, the actual environment. I would hate to see them just regurgitate the same map. I understand it's the same city, but find a way to make it interesting. Like season 6 of Apex. Anyways, it'll be interesting to see. We still don't know whether or not Rocksteady is going to announce a Batman game or my bad. They're doing the Suicide Squad game. They haven't showed gameplay at this point, so we can't talk about it in the time in which we're recording that. But I'm sure we'll talk about it on the next podcast whenever they reveal the Suicide Squad game. That's gonna be interesting.
Batman.
I'm curious to see, because I'm going to assume that Suicide Squad means co-op. What's going to be the difference between Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad? Do they go into war with one another? Like,
exactly. That's what I just said. I was like, this is because I wasn't expecting WB Montreal to do their own. It didn't show it first before even Rocksteady did. So that's why I'm like confused as to what both of the studios are doing at this.
All right, what type of game? Maybe it is a single player game. Maybe it is just maybe we're overthinking.
But it's a lot of we just got the Suicide Squad reboot basically with like all of the Suicide Squad characters. So that's a huge cast. So is Rocksteady going to have all of those characters in this game, or are we just doing like the original cast that was from like the first Suicide Squad movie?
Yeah, I don't know.
I have a lot more questions now. I don't know.
They said 2021, so I mean, this is a next gen title. I'm pretty sure. Still don't know what the PS5 and the Xbox is going to cost. What's today? August 22nd, in which we're recording, and they said that I actually watched the video from IGN last night. The PS5 Sony Direct CEO he confirmed that there will be no delays on the PS5. We still don't know how much it costs, when there's going to be pre-orders. Fall's next month. Sure would be nice to get some info on that. You know, maybe people need to set money aside. This is the first time this has happened in like my lifetime. We're entering a next gen console and we have no idea what the fuck to expect. Still really don't know what the features are on the PS5. Well, they have adaptive triggers, you know, and they released that trailer. Anyways, I'm done ranting about that. Let's talk about something that came out of the woodworks. There's a game coming out of China called Black Myth Wukong. It looks like a Dark Souls-esque type action adventure game where you play as Wukong, which is like an ancient Chinese story that like Dragon Ball is based off of. Journey to the West, all that bullshit. It's getting a lot of hype. There was a 13-minute demo. It came out of nowhere. It was not in English, but it went viral and like the internet's going crazy to the point where actually the developers like released a statement and they were saying that like they're actually embarrassed by how much hype and excitement people have for this game. And they said, to be honest, that they said that they have better shit to show. They feel like this is not even like their final form, basically, and they're going into hiding. And they're going to focus on developing the game because they just didn't expect this response. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's like a cultural difference thing and like they didn't expect it. Like they're probably like shy people or something, but this is cool. This is a pleasant surprise. You got any hot takes on this Wukong gameplay? Because during my streams, every like 100 times a stream, did you see the Wukong gameplay? What'd you think, Dad?
Nah, like I think that they deserved all the hype and all the viral nature that this 13-minute demo got. Like for them to come on and say that this isn't even like the tip of the iceberg, that looked amazing. Like especially since it's primarily a smaller studio, even though the person Zug who usually like is really big on like the Chinese games, when he showed it. And then he was going over like the details on like the studio. He said like it was like initially a studio of like 19 people, but he said he counted like 40 people. So obviously they've expanded. So it's a bigger studio than what it is, but it's still not anywhere near like a AAA type of studio. But the game looked amazing. Like from what we saw, like it looked fire. Again, we don't know if it's going to be Dark Souls-esque. It kind of looked like it, but it might end up being more of like, I don't know, maybe it'll be a little bit more forgiving. Yeah, I would say like Star Wars. Like it's going to be it looks like it might be a little bit more forgiving than a Dark Souls or a Sekiro. But in any case, man, they said that Wukong, like this game is gonna have 72 abilities that he can do. That's a lot. Like when you think about it, 72. Because Wukong, Wukong has been in like pretty much like every single game, like every MOBA. Yeah, that's what Goku was based off of. Yeah, that's what Goku was based off of. Wukong, for those who didn't know. So like, man, like he was doing a lot of crazy stuff. Like this game looked really, really good. So like, especially since the trailer went viral, they better bring this over to the States. I want to play this like now. Yeah, that game looked fire, bro.
That's my main concern. Like, I agree. Like, it looks like a next gen title. Like the physics on like the beard and the hair looks real nice. The destruction in the environment, the combat look fire. But that's my main concern. This is a Chinese developed game.
Oh, and now y'all care about China.
And I'm just curious. Like, is this gonna come over here? Because it seems like I said, they were surprised by the hype. It didn't seem like they had intentions for this to come to the West. So like, how are they gonna? Who's gonna pick it up? Who's gonna bring it over here? And if I had a sneaky suspicion, the Epic Game Store, it'll become exclusive because it's China and Tencent, baby. They can make that connection. Who's gonna pick it up is the question.
I'm almost positive that's an Unreal Engine game.
Yeah, it looks Unreal. It definitely does.
Bro, did you see it when you saw that enemy that had the yeah, bro? Did you see those lighting effect? That shit, bro. That's UE5.
It looks next. It looks
that looks like
gen.
UE5, yo. Yeah,
that's Niagara. Like I was watching the trailer and I was like, oh shit, I know how they did this. Like it was really cool. There's like a couple things I saw. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, they're using like this and like the destruction. I was like, yeah, I know what they're using for that stuff. It's actually really good. So like, no, they did a fantastic job with the engine. Like I give them props. Like I don't know how many people are working on this game, but like it's visually it is stunning. The gameplay looks great too. So like, I mean, yeah, I'd be willing to try the game out. Yeah, the 70 abilities things look kind of crazy. I'm assuming though, if they bring it to the States, they might have to delay it because they'd have to like bring localization to it. So they probably need like you're saying, like they're gonna need a publisher to like fund that localization.
So like if it came out, then if it came out like whenever it comes down to China, we'll probably get it like a year later if we're lucky. Yeah.
If they allow it, because there's a bunch of other. I don't know how China deals with like their people, their studios games coming out like internationally, like what that even entails. So I don't.
Yeah, that's another thing because they just got consoles in China. So like, was this developed even for the PS4 or the Xbox in mind? Like, I feel like this was just a PC game.
Yeah, who knows? Like I don't know a lot of the back history on this game, so like I don't know like who the developers are. I don't know how big the studio is, how long they've been working on like this stuff. Like I just don't know. So we'll see. But no, I've kind of said it before, and I kind of believe it that I think like what we're gonna get next gen is like there's like gonna be a huge burst of like Chinese developed games that are about to appear like in like AAA space. Because like I've kind of what a lot of people don't know is that a lot of the games that you play nowadays are actually built by people in China through like outsourcing. And I think it's like I've always examples? Oh yeah, pick a AAA game. Halo Infinite, China. Basically any AAA game that has a massive budget, GTA, any of the most of them. The way that these games get built is because they use funding. I mean, not funding. They hire basically what's called outsourcing studios in China, and they hire them to help build assets for the game. Yeah, it's fun fact. Yeah, fun fact. Like, yeah, a lot of the games that you've played in the past like 5-6 years. A lot of them have had outsourcing to studios, and they're really good. They're really fucking good.
For simple niggas, basically what you're trying to say is China has been doing background vocals for Western developers for like the last...
I just think Chinese studios just haven't been getting clout. Like a lot of like the crazy visuals that you see in a lot of games, like a lot of them and like art style and stuff like that, like the actual 3D models, a lot of that is done by like actual like Chinese third party like outsourcing, sometimes Japan, but a lot of it's like Indonesia, Vietnam, China. Like those areas are actually like huge hotbeds of like studios that like AAA studios hire. Like if you go on ArtStation, you can find a couple of them and say, hey, we've been clients of like Rocksteady, we've been clients of like Witcher. Like you'd be surprised, and they'll show you like their portfolios. You'll see stuff that's been in like games that you play. You'd be like, oh my god, I had no clue they worked on this. Like this character.
So what you're saying is they've basically been doing background vocals, but don't be surprised if during the PS5 generation
like, hey,
they come out. They're
gonna
step
come out
and
come out on the forefront with
and I mean they like hit like tell me how many times like we've seen news of like a Chinese developer revealing their game and people being blown away by it. They're like, oh my god, this looks crazy, and they're just like, yeah, I've just been working on it on my off time, like in some Chinese dude. Like what was that shooting game? That was one Chinese developer, and then he got a studio for it. And then there was that DMC like game that was also a Chinese developer. Like, yeah, there's a lot of these types of games that
there's 3 billion people over there. I'm sure there's a ton of untapped talent over there.
So. Exactly. So for a little backstory, the developer is called Game Science Studio, and it said it was founded in 2014 by ex-Tencent staff. So.
Epic Game Store. Do not be surprised when it comes to it.
Yep, ex-Tencent staff said they made other games before, and they've been working on this particular game for more than 2 years, so like 2+ years.
They said this is not the final form. We're definitely gonna keep an eye on this one. They said that they're not gonna show anything again for a while just because they're embarrassed and they want to go into hiding. They don't like the hype. So I don't be surprised if like a year from now this pops back up with like a release date or something like that. That's what I would say.
Big games, baby.
Yeah, cool shit. Check it out. The name of the game is Black Myth Wukong. Go on YouTube and search it up. There's a 13-minute demo. Check out the gameplay so you can see what we're referencing and get an idea of what to expect. I don't know if we're going to talk about this. Call of Duty officially confirmed the next one's Cold War. There was a teaser. If you didn't watch the trailer, the summary of the teaser is Russia, Sputnik, Russia, China. What'd that do for y'all?
Huh?
I mean, they get a little too serious about this. It's like, all right, I understand. This is a damn video game.
Did you watch the trailer, Ethos? That's all it is.
No. Yeah.
It's about the Cold War.
Cold War, yeah. I was confused. I was like, Russia, China. I mean, I'm hyped for it. I'm definitely hyped for it. I'm gonna lie. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Black Ops series. So, I mean, like, and this is kind of them going back to their roots. Like, that whole, like, conspiracy theory type of, like, what you don't know happened in the shadows during this war and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, I gotta see gameplay, but I mean, as long as they tell me there's a campaign, I'll probably play it. But
it's gotta be with this. Like, I wouldn't see why it wouldn't be. Yeah,
and like, it's like what we talked about before I got memed to death about it. But if it's got the OGs in it, then I'm pretty much gonna be sold on it. I don't care if it's gonna be the same shit, whatever.
That's crazy.
You can tell me that 1,000 times, I'm still gonna play it.
Yeah, I don't really have anything hot take to say on this, just because there's no gameplay. I need to see gameplay first. I will say it's interesting that we still haven't seen any COD gameplay. Like usually, and it's about to come out.
Yeah, this is August. Like,
yeah, they would announce. They usually announce it back in May, don't they?
Yeah, like May, June.
Yeah,
the COD cycle is broken. What?
Yeah, like they're teasing it back then, but again, it might be due to COVID. So.
China, Russia, Sputnik.
COVID.
Ghost of Tsushima announced that they're coming out with a co-op update this fall. There'll be 4 different characters. They're different types they have like different special abilities. There's like a ninja, archer, a regular samurai, and something else. I'm too lazy to watch the trailer again. And you'll be able to fight powerful enemies and do raids. How are we feeling about co-op in Ghost of Tsushima?
I mean, this was another interesting surprise. I'm curious to see how this will play out, because I don't think anybody was expecting, a continuation, a co-op continuation at that of Ghost of Tsushima, especially so quickly. I think that's one of the more surprising things. Like this is coming out super fast. So they've obviously been working on this. Sucker Punch have been working on this, while they were making the regular story for Ghost of Tsushima. And I think, well, I guess we'll have to see how this goes. I know they're going to have a lot of customization, but I think some people were kind of worried because they were expecting to, I guess, go in with their own gen character, however they have them set up. But
the fourth is a Ronin. Okay, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Ronin. Yeah. So, but I think it's interesting though that you can like pick a class and everybody will have different type of abilities, but. It still might be to some of the people like, oh, I want to do everything, but I'm interested to play it though, like, because it's going to be like a different type of take on it, because you want to be basically fighting demons and stuff. So I think that's cool. But again, like I don't think anybody really saw this coming. We were like, whoa, y'all just brought this out of nowhere. So I'm interested to play it. We'll see how it is, because this is definitely one of my favorite games. So I'll be looking forward to playing a co-op.
It's cool too, because it'll be a free update for those of you unaware this fall, so you don't have to pay for anything. It's not paid DLC. I feel like this will only work if there's like if they take like the Call of Duty Zombies approach, where there's like, it doesn't have to be like a full-blown story, but some type of lore and underlying story to it. So why we're doing what we're doing, because I think it would be weird to just throw 4 people in there and fight demons, just waves of demons. Like, I'm not really interested in that. But from the trailer, it looks like there's some type of story going on. That's the only thing I would say. You got anything for this, Ethos?
I mean, kind of like in JG's boat, like kind of came out of nowhere, probably because it was probably being developed for the base game. Like when the game came out, it should have came with it, but I'm guessing COVID attacked it and they were like, we had to delay it. That's probably why it's coming out so quick. It looks cool. I'm gonna try it out because it's free. I'm not gonna complain about nothing free. I kind of agree with JG. We'd obviously had different interpretations of what we thought a co-op thing would look like being able to use our own gen Sekai and like how he would look in our own style. So I feel like it's gonna be that little thing. Like, I'm gonna be honest, nobody wants to be an archer. I don't want to be an archer. I don't think anybody here, like compared to the other classes, I don't think anybody would want to be an archer, but someone's gonna have.
What if the archer ends up like Black Widow and be the best character?
That would be crazy.
I'm gonna play the archer because you hating.
Go ahead, you can play archer.
I don't want to be the Ronin, bro.
I'd rather be Ronin or a ninja.
Have you played Green Arrow in Injustice?
Have you played the arrow like systems inside of Ghost of Tsushima? I'm assuming you
slow down time and I shoot him in the head.
Yeah, that shit's boring to me. I'd rather be a ninja. I'd rather be a ninja or a Ronin or something like that. You're
gonna be screaming for help. Don't worry, I'll be the sniper.
Yep. You do that. But yeah, I mean, but like I said, like Ghost of Tsushima is probably one of my favorite games this year. So I mean, I'm not gonna say no to free content.
Hell yeah. Definitely gonna be downloading that this fall. Look out for that. It'll be some fun streams for co-op. And then last but not least, what I got on my notes is the Vend network announced it's a new network available on Twitch, YouTube, all other streaming platforms. I think they stream to Twitter as well. It's a new gaming network, kind of similar. It looks like they're kind of going for like the G4 thing, professional, high quality content. They have like different types of shows where they talk about news and things going on in the gaming industry. They have a workout show. Ace was actually featured on it. They had him doing like push-ups or something. Oh yeah, he was jump roping with no rope. How are we feeling about the Vin network, JG? You're getting G4 vibes. Do you see like this thing? Do you feel like this could survive in this market today?
I am getting G4 vibes, and I feel like it can survive, but I feel like they need, well, first of all, they definitely need more shows, because I feel like this format of Wednesday through Saturday new shows won't survive. I think that it kind of already killed a lot of people's interest. Like first week, of course, like I want to see what the hype is about, and then lo and behold, Ace ended up being on the show, so obviously we got to support that. And shout out to Cash, because I actually do like the show, but even that show like needs a little bit more. I feel like probably one of the shows that did the best, in my opinion, was The Download, because that's an informative like news type of show. And even the first show that they had, like I was like, okay, like they had a lot of things that I may have not caught at the very moment, and I was like, oh, okay, like it was very informative. And shout out to Erin, because she's on the show as well as a co-host, so shout out to her. But yeah, they need more shows for sure. Like it was cool, like 'cause I think they have like 7 shows right now, but it's like a lot of time, it's just a lot of dead air. And I understand, like they're a new network, they just started, but I feel like they should have probably gotten like at least 10 shows just to start off. But it's just a lot of reruns right now, and I think people kind of already got sick of it, because we're like in 3 and it's just a lot of dead air. So they just need something else. But I feel like it will survive. But then again, we got to see what's going on. The G4 is coming right around the corner next year. So they're definitely going to be competing with each other, whether they want to or not. So we'll see what ends up happening, because G4, if they can get all the same people, then it's definitely going to be
They said
hard.
they're close to signing Olivia Munn. They're going after.
Oh yeah, like I said, that people are going to be on that. So like I said, Vin has to do something quick. They're going to have to get some more people, some more shows, some more ideas, and definitely some more hard hitting people. But they are getting, they're getting some guests on their shows. So they are getting a couple people. Like they had Mighty Mouse on one show. Even though I don't like him, they had Lil Xan on one of the shows this week. So yeah, so but they're kind of getting people. Like I see, like they're not just getting the people who may be in our gaming space, like they're getting people outside of the space too. So at least they have a little bit of clout to reach out, whether it's the network themselves or the people who are on the particular shows that are reaching out and getting these guests. But but again, guests are one thing. You just need more shows. So Vin, holla at us.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The first week I was tuned in, I was watching everything, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched since. I'm still follow them. Like I might poke my head in there to see what's going in, but it's hard for me to see how this will last long terms, because in terms of business model, like how do they make money? I think they sell ads because they have them running in between like shows and stuff. But the thing is, like, I feel like it'd be hard to sell ads if you're only dropping new shows Wednesday to Saturday, and like their views are pretty good during those times, but when they're doing reruns, it goes from like being 5 to 10,000 people in the room to like 200, and that's a crazy drop off. I feel like that it'd be hard to sell ads for that, but I could be wrong. I don't know. It needs something. It's missing something, but I appreciate the effort. You got any hot takes, Ethos?
Cool. I'm kind of really concerned about, like, I feel like there's like a ticking clock against Vin. Like the moment G4 teased themselves coming back, it's like I'm kind of concerned that Vin might not even have a chance at that point. Like if Vin comes back, they get Olivia Munn. I'm sorry, not Vin. If G4 comes back and they have Olivia Munn, it's like, why would people go and watch Vin if they could go back to something that's more nostalgic? And so that kind of concerns me of like the longevity of like the Vin project. But it seems like a good idea, and I do see like there's quality put into it. It's just like what you're saying. They need new shows. They need them fast. They got to find a way to step out, like, because if G4 hits, they only have a certain amount of time left on that clock. So they got to make sure that they already have themselves in place as like, oh yeah, there's what makes them different from G4. Because G4 could come out and be just garbage. Like it could be like, yo, what the heck? But from the player, they get like all the OGs and stuff, and like all the O shows.
They bring X-Play back with Morgan and what's the name?
They're in trouble. Vince
yeah.
in trouble. They won't have a chance at that point. But if they can't get like Olivia Munn and Morgan back, and they have like a bunch of new faces, then I doubt G4 will be able to like destroy them. But if they do get the OGs back, yeah, I gotta say sorry to Vin, but whoever invested in Vin, like, man, timing was like poor, like couldn't have been worse. But it's not like they had future foresight into that. No one knew G4 was gonna have a potential coming back. So.
Yeah, because if all the Kevin Pereira, Olivia, Morgan, and what's the smoker's name that got ran off the internet? What's his name again? I forgot. Adam Sessler. They bring him back. Shit, bring back Arena for like competitive tournaments where they give away money to the winner and shit. You can bring on like the professionals, because now there's a market. There's a crazy market for esports. You can bring on the pro players to compete in certain games and stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that shit would definitely be on the Chromecast. It would be on the TV, and like I just have it in the background watching it.
Do you remember the guy who I think like you had a bit of rapport with, like the person who like started G4? Do you remember his name? Like the dude who ended up doing the Nitro ice cream?
What was his name? Shit, let me Google.
Because I don't know, like, does he still have a part of this or no?
No, so when I talked to him, he said he left because he knew that what's the name? G4 would become the cop. He knew ahead of time that it was gonna become like the cops rerun and the Ninja Warrior shit, so he didn't like it. So he ended up leaving. I think he sold the company.
Okay.
I can't even find Nitro Ice Cream when I look it up anymore. Did he delete his Twitter? I haven't talked to that dude in a while.
Yeah, because I think he might have gotten on Twitter, because I like tried to look for him and I couldn't find him.
Yeah, I cannot find him. Something from St. Louis comes up. I don't got business out there. What the hook? He's LA based, I believe. Anyways, yeah, that's all I got on my show notes. I got anything else I want to add to the conversation before we wrap it up?
Nope.
No, just waiting on this Rocksteady teaser.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk.
Never coming out.
No more delays. It's official. We're gonna get the game now. It's coming out this year. All you jokesters, you're all wrong.
Yeah, all right.
Did we already? Because I think like the latest Nightwire came out before we did this podcast, right?
Nightwire? What the fuck is that?
Oh yeah,
that's what the developer things are called.
Developer thing with all the new stuff they tell you about.
Oh yeah. What'd you have to say on that?
Did you all watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. Right? Yeah, I watched it.
How do we feel about the paths that you can take?
Fire.
Did you all find that?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, that's like Mass Effect 1, picking your intro, but it actually like
that's literally like, Mass Effect. Yeah.
Yeah, but it has like actual story, like prologue of what you actually play.
That means you could do 3 playthroughs with different story styles.
Yeah, and it's gonna affect the rest of the game too as you play, like who you talk to. It's like I smell game of the.
I'm gonna be a street kid.
And then they showed the different types of guns that they have. I thought that was cool too.
Yeah, shit was good. Everything was good. Everything
was good. It just the game don't exist to me till it come out. That's the only thing.
Don't play it when it comes out. Then it don't exist.
It's looking a little Star Citizen. I don't know.
No.
Oh yeah, I would have to stop you there. Like I accepted all the slander, but don't say it's Star Citizen.
You're not gonna say that. It's coming out this year. Nah.
Whatever happened to Star Citizen?
Who knows, bro?
Yeah, tell us you wasted your $200, didn't you?
Yeah, it was $100 on my ship. Yeah.
$100 ship. Hey, I still can go on.
$100 ship.
I can still go on and play it if I want.
Fuck that game, bro.
I kind of have it in the back of my head where it's just like, hey, it eventually comes out, cool. I mean, I had my fun on it, so like I'm not mad that I, gave him like 100 something. So I'm like, hey, whatever, it is what it is. I ain't one of these broke boys out here crying about games getting $70, so it's all good.
And then for your reference, when you're talking about this Static Shock thing, it's only trending because Kid Cudi said, "Can we have a black superhero that doesn't have black in their name?" And then someone mentioned they were like, "Oh, Static Shock don't count." So yeah, DC didn't say anything. So sorry, though, not yet.
Has he seen Django Unchained?
Bruh, look, they literally mentioned all those people. They were like, "What's wrong with you?" They're like Static Shock, Storm, Luke Cage, Misty Knight, Cyborg. They're like, it's
fucking exposed. Yeah, he doesn't know anything. It's cool.
Like, come on, Cuddy. I see what you're trying to do, but nah, bro. We got black superheroes out here that don't have black in their name.
You can't hum your way out this L. So that's all I got on my show notes. So you got the floor, Jay. What's your closing statement for Game and Illuminati episode 103? Go.
That's crazy. We on 103. Hey man, like I said before, we got some things in the works. We're going to take the podcast to another level, so be expecting that. Not real soon, but it will be soon. All right.
Ethos, what's your closing statement for Game and Illuminati episode 103? Go.
Hey, thanks everybody for watching. I want to have an obvious disclaimer that anything that I said in reference to anything in this podcast does not mean I'm specifically targeting any specific person. I'm just generalizing stuff that I've heard and what I've said. And if the shoe fits, it fits you. It wasn't on purpose. So thank you.
Just out of curiosity, what inspired that statement?
JG can tell you.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I gotta watch your VOD. They told me I gotta watch that VOD. I heard it was a fucking loser on the stream. Yeah,
I had an artistic
fun, bro.
yeah, you better than me, bro. I wouldn't even entertain. I wish that bitch ass nigga would say something to me, bro. You get blocked off rip. Nigga's a loser, bro.
It was good content. It was hella good content.
Yeah, I heard he got sunned like a motherfucker. I was like, oh, you just reminded me. I'm gonna go watch that VOD after this.
It's actually good, like 2 hours of content.
You need to put that on the GI channel, bro.
I asked him to edit it, but I don't know if he's gonna edit it or not.
I think he said something. I think he said it's on the list of things to do.
Not all of it. Put it on the GI channel. I was like, that's like, it was really good content. So
fucking loser. Yeah. I ain't got nothing else. I ain't got nothing to say other than I gotta edit this and get it done. So I appreciate everybody coming through and checking out the show. If you enjoy it, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/GI updates. You can be a guest on the show. I believe it's the $50 tier like that. We have a bunch of other cool stuff. Join the Discord if you want a one-on-one consultation for your content, whatever we do. Check out all the tiers, man. Support us. Patreon.com/GI updates. Take the show on the go, Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, all those platforms, all that bullshit. Other than that, appreciate you for listening to the show once again. If you're watching the video version, leave a like. Actually, you know what? You know what's really dope? I said say happy birthday last episode to GB if you got to the end of the episode. If you're watching the video version of the podcast, if you made it to the end of this episode, type in the comment section, booty eater. All right. Oh. And that's all I got for you. I'll holler at y'all. Peace.